Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I am here at the Pittsfield Airport today with Mike Fenton. Mike is running for Governor's Council, the 8th District in Western Mass, correct?
That's right. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing this. It's a beautiful day up here.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Happy to be at Pittsfield Airport, and there's quite a bit of traffic like we were talking about earlier, so it seems like this is a key to future growth for all the Berkshires.
Absolutely. And that's something I'll be talking about a lot later on. So tell us a little bit about Governor's Council, because this is something I was not totally educated on myself. So what is the position of Governor's Council?
It is the most important board that you haven't heard of before. The 8th District is all of Western Mass, so it's 103 cities and towns, Palmer West, Pittsfield, Great Barrington, North Adams, Springfield, Holyoke, everywhere in between. And the elected person from this district sits on a board of 8 from across the Commonwealth. They're primarily attorneys, and this group sits and deliberates on requests from the governor for confirmation. And the most visible and the most major of those roles is the judiciary. So all the way from the Supreme Judicial Court, Appeals Court, District Court, Superior Court, probate, juvenile, everything in between. Those confirmations and appointments for judgeships come to the Governor's Council for deliberation. The board also sits in a confirmation capacity for the Appellate Tax Board, the Parole Board, the Industrial Accidents Board, and some other more minor ministerial roles.
Okay. Now, judgeship, that's something the public talks about a lot, because a lot of times you hear, oh my God, how could this judge do that and judge do that? So that position is, you would be one of the people who decides who becomes a judge and who doesn't, correct?
That's exactly right. And that's a part of why I'm running, because I'm a lawyer. The current incumbent is not. I think it's very important that we have someone with the appropriate legal training to be able to do that job. And, we've fallen behind as a region, particularly the Berkshires, which is why I'm so happy to be here in Pittsfield talking about this today. Pittsfield and all the way from northern Berkshire, southern, middle Berkshire, has a long and rich judicial history of appointments coming from this region. And in the last 4 years under this Governor's Council, we have not had a single confirmation or appointment for Superior Court or District Court from the Berkshires. We've got a really problematic system now where there are judges driving in from other counties, Hampden, Hampshire County, to service Berkshire residents, and that's something that we really need to work on and improve on. And we also need to be paying more attention to the court infrastructure. There's 3 courthouses in the Berkshires, North Adams, Great Barrington, Pittsfield, with the Superior Court and other courts also being located in downtown Pittsfield. And it's time that there's reinvestment in these assets and in these resources. And I would be a good advocate. I've been a lawyer for 15 years. I've been on the Springfield City Council for 17. So I know how to pair government service with legal acumen, and would do everything I can to call attention to these inequities, and particularly call some attention to the needs of Berkshire County.
Okay. Now, so you say in the past 4 years, we haven't not confirmed not one new judge for this area?
That's correct. Not a single Superior or District Court judge. There was a time 4 years ago where there were 4 District Court judges from Berkshire County. Currently, they're down to 2. The other 2 are driving in from far away to be able to service this county, and it's really it's caused a major issue. And there's also staffing issues beyond the judiciary in the county. I've spoke to some of the clerks here, particularly the newly elected Berkshire Superior Court clerk, Lisa Denault-Veal, and there's major staffing issues. It's a very, very busy courthouse, particularly in Pittsfield. That courthouse does more Superior Court work than Hampshire and Franklin County combined. They do.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's astonishing, and they do 3 times as much work as Barnstable County. But meanwhile, Clerk Denault-Veal has no first assistant clerk by statute, no assistant clerk by statute, and a total of 6 employees. When people go on vacation, they have to borrow staff from Hampden County. Call up, Clerk Gentile, who's supporting me in this campaign, as are so many other people in the criminal justice system, and ask for support. And thankfully, there's been regional partners that have been willing to do that and help out the Berkshires. But we need to get these offices and these courts more fully staffed. The Berkshire Superior Court clerk's office should not have 6 employees compared to over 12 in Barnstable County when they're doing 3 times the amount of work.
Now, as far as the judgeships, do you know, is it a lack of people applying to become a judge, or is it something else that's causing that?
I think there's a few factors, Michael. Having spoken to members of the bar in Berkshire and elsewhere across Western Mass, a big problem is the pipeline. The current environment and the current feeling of many people among the bar is that there's just too many litmus tests that you get exposed to in the confirmation process as to whether or not you've been a prosecutor in your past. We recently saw the governor's council for this area and the governor's council in a very narrow 4-3 vote rejected an appointment to the Parole Board, Attorney DeMoore, because the stated reason was that he had been a prosecutor in his past. He wasn't even currently a prosecutor, but at some point had been a prosecutor in his past. And despite the urging in person of maybe our nation's most progressive female lesbian governor, and all 3 of the district attorneys from Western Mass, D.A. Sullivan, D.A. Gallooni, D.A. Shagru, our governor's council from this region voted against that confirmation because of the history as a prosecutor, and that person was defeated in a narrow 4-3 vote. And I would not have taken that approach. I would have worked with the governor's office and with our 3 district attorneys from this area to have an appropriate balance on the parole board. I'm not saying that we should have a bunch of prosecutors on there, but one would be nice, someone to represent victims and public safety. And so for those reasons, that's why I'm in this race. I think we really need a change. I think the Berkshires has been underrepresented, and that I would do a lot better for this region and partner with public safety officials like Sheriff Bowler and D.A. Shagru and Clerk Denault Veal and so many others to make sure that the Berkshires are appropriately accounted for.
Now, obviously, being such a large area, the 8th District, campaigning, I mean, that's got to be tough to try to reach us. That's a lot of people you got to reach. Now, you said you are a Springfield City Councilor also.
That's right. I've been on the city council there for 17 years. I was the council president for 5, so I know how to get stuff done in difficult environments. But like you said, this is a big district. It's not all about the Berkshires. I'm focusing on that in this interview because we're in Pittsfield and there's some acute concerns in your 3 courthouses out this way. But it's also going to require attention to Franklin County and Hampshire County and Hampden County. I'm proud to have the support of D.A. Gallooni, Sheriff Kochi, and many, many others in public safety across all these regions. And it requires really advocating for the region even more broadly than the court system, which we're primarily responsible for on the Governor's Council. The proximity of this office to the governor is really unprecedented in terms of other positions in the Commonwealth. The lieutenant governor chairs the meetings, and when you have that type of access to the executive branch for the Commonwealth and our region west of 495 that has been forgotten for generations, you need to use that platform to advocate to fill judicial vacancies, to get good lawyers into the pipeline, and to fight for infrastructure in our courthouses. And it's just not currently happening. And I think that what has happened with all these litmus tests and circumstances is that it's really sort of a adversarial relationship with our governor, who's been doing a great job. And as a result of that, it makes it really difficult to pick up the phone and say, hey, we need some attention in the Berkshire Superior Court system, or we need some attention in the Great Barrington District Court. And I would work on repairing those relationships and making sure that our voice is heard.
Now, during the campaigning process, unlike, I'm sure it's a lot different than campaigning for city council for the area you're in. How are you how are you putting signs out? Or do you have to get signatures for each area? How does all that work?
Yeah, you needed 1,000 signatures, which is a lot more than the 100 that I'm accustomed to getting to for Springfield City Council. And I said during my kickoff that I'm not a career politician. My primary career, my career is as a lawyer. I have served on the city council as service, and I've always approached it that way. It's never been a primary career path for me, and neither is governor's council. It's also a part-time position, one that requires a lot of attention and commitment to community, which I have. But you got to be willing to get out there and meet a lot more people. My district, I represent 1/8 of Springfield. It's the neighborhood that I grew up in, my friends and family, and big extended Irish Catholic family. And we, in this race, are not going to win it by knocking on doors. We got to go out, speak with media partners and independent media partners like yourself, put out yard signs. There's going to be television commercials, which I'm a little embarrassed by and not accustomed to, but something that you have to do in a race like this, because there's just no way to get out there and meet each and every person in 103 cities and towns. With that said, I'm crisscrossing the district. I'm here in Pittsfield today. I'm going to be in Westfield tonight. I'm going to be back in Springfield. And we're going to do everything we can to meet as many people as we can along the way.
Okay. So for the Pittsfield and Berkshire County residents that want to learn more about your campaign or get in touch with you, how can they do that? What's the best way for them to do that?
We're on Facebook, Michael Fenton, and we're also, we have a campaign website. It's votemikefenton.com. And I encourage you to check us out, learn more about the campaign, and really about why I'm running to address regional inequities. We talked about the specific problems in Berkshire County, but it goes beyond just the specific courthouses. It's also on the statewide boards and commissions. Our region has a long and treasured history of having regional representation on the highest court, Supreme Judicial Court. Judge Francis Spina, a resident of Berkshire County, was a long member of that board. Judge Graney from Westfield. Today, we don't have a single member of the SJC from Western Massachusetts, and that's unacceptable. The same is true of the Parole Board. Same is true of the Appellate Tax Board. And we've just gotten away from that long and rich history of regional representation and advocacy. And I feel that currently the Governor's Council is too caught up with litmus tests and worrying about things that really aren't the meat and potatoes issues that matter to the people of Pittsfield, the people of Berkshire County, and more broadly Hampden, Hampshire, and Franklin County. And I'll be out there fighting for that from day one.
Okay. And the Facebook, is that just your name, or is it for Governor's Council, or?
You know what? I honestly don't know what it is. I guess it's at Michael Fenton something. But if you look me up, it might be Michael A. Fenton. There might be an SPFLD in there.
Which I'm going to look it up, so it'll be right here on the screen.
Right here, folks.
So if people do want to get a sign or some more information, they can do that through there?
Yes, they could do it through our Facebook or the website, which I do know. It's votemikefenton.com.
Okay, beautiful. And that's also right there. Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I'll definitely do a follow-up with you as we get closer, because it is, I guess the season is just kicking off, but you've got a lot of space to cover. So I wish you the best of luck with it. And like I said, I'll follow up with you, and we'll see how things are going as the campaign continues.
That sounds great. Thanks for having me on. The election September 1st. Appreciate you.